Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Hopkins High Class of '88. Marnie, we still don't know what we're calling this yet.
Yeah, we're still working on it, but I wanted to welcome Kyle Hansen, our special guest this week, and we have a bunch of participants already. I see Chris Camp Glazer, who had her locker next to mine for many years.
I've known Chris since kindergarten.
Maybe you hung out at our locker. Lee Zwart, Michelle Tweed, Laura Green. People are going to come and go, but we're just so happy to have Kyle Hansen with us. Are you in Minnesota?
Yes, I am sitting. It is humid here today too. So got some work done today, and we're heading up north as soon as we're done here to go to the cabin for a few days.
Ooh, yes. Where's the cabin, Kyle?
It's on Camp Lake. It's probably about 7 miles from Grand Casino Mille Lacs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you basically just go up to Wigwam Bay and take a left and head right on over. So it's not far. It's great.
All right, so I have official introduction here, text, and I'll read this and then we'll get on with the show. Everybody who watched episode 1, the response was fantastic. As you may know, we'll post this to YouTube, and we sort of will go put everything through the Hopkins High Class of '88 Facebook page. So look for updates there. Share with your friends. We had over 120 views of the first week, so we're really fired up. Our guest today, of course, is Kyle Hansen, professional photographer, lifelong metalhead. Last October, Kyle blew our minds when he posted to the Class of '88 Facebook page hundreds of black and white photos he took as a student in high school, shot on real film. It's with no do-overs. No digital photography existed then, as we all know. The photos captured real scenes of life at HHS in the late 80s. They chronicled life at the North Door, the cafeteria, and of course the mall. Some of the most evocative photos are fairly mundane, but definitely not the kind of photos the yearbook would have captured, and many of them are actually, I think, just beautiful. The collection features many muses, including my favorite, Todd Fougere, and the most common pose involves Kyle's subjects flipping him off.
Yeah,
I think
that's about
I
it.
think many of them belong in a photo exhibit or probably a book, so maybe we can convince Kyle to do that. Kyle, let's just start off. In that post, you said your teacher at the time, you can tell us who that is, he didn't think that going out into the school and taking photos was a good use of your time. Can you remember what you were thinking about as you were shooting these rolls and rolls of film and what you were trying to accomplish at the time?
Well, basically I was just taking pictures of people I knew, my friends, and then I like candids when people don't look at what you're doing. You know, they don't know you're taking your picture. And obviously when people see that you're taking their picture, a lot of them want to tell you that you're number one, which you can tell a lot of my friends told me that. So it was basically just to test the film and the camera and get to know the camera and learn how to do it. And then basically just kind of goof off and take pictures and learning how to develop the film in class. You know, I mean, that was the big part of it. And then I didn't think it would be such a timepiece as what it is. But when I started going through it and I started looking at them all, I'm like, okay, this is a good idea to do this first. Like, because I got a thing to transfer all my negatives onto my camera. And the first thing I wanted to do is the negatives are getting kind of brittle. So it's like, I just wanted to make sure that I got all those. That was important to me to get all those documented. And then I was like, what a better place to put them up than the webpage. So, or the page on Facebook.
Yeah. Those photos have I think, you know, and I'm an amateur when I look at art of any type, but they seem to have a style and a look and a feel to them. Were you shooting based on photographers that you admired, or did you have an idea going in of how you wanted these
I was just going around and using my eye and taking pictures of just school life, you know. And if people pose, they pose. If they didn't, then you get pictures of them not looking at you. The North Door photos are, because it's such a, like, I think the smoking door closed a couple years after us. I think 88, 89, they finally said, you know what, this probably isn't good that minors are smoking. And, you know, everybody, I quit 20 years ago. So everybody, if you're smoking, still quit. You want to be on the planet as long as possible. And it's fun to look back at because it's such a different time and era. And it's crazy to think that was life, but that's what it was. And, you know, we enjoyed it, had fun, and that was the 80s.
Yeah, there were like, I mean, as much as I think, and part of the reason why we're doing this podcast is I think we have a lot of really fond memories of our class, and that in general, people in our class got along pretty well. Certainly there were cliques, but I almost think of them like tribes, and like people dressed, you know, similarly and wore their hair similarly, depending on sort of what cultural tribe they took part in. And that North Door scene has a real, you know, 30 years later, it's like, that's got a real gritty kind of feel to it. You still hang out with those guys? You still keep in touch with them?
I still talk. We're all friends on Facebook, which is that's what I like about Facebook. I don't go on rants. I don't put any political crap up. That all should be dealt with in your own personal time with your husband or your spouse or whoever you have with you. Or if you have friends that think the same way, the political crap on Facebook, I don't think some people use it as soapbox. I don't. It's for fun. It's for promoting stuff. It's for promoting yourself. I just like doing that so I can share with everybody. Most of the people that are on there, I still talk to on Facebook. My good friend Chris Solon passed away a couple years ago. It was really, he had a heart condition most of his life. I know it got worse later on, and it was a bad scene. He just ended up passing away. Still talk to a couple of the other people that were there, but it's funny when I put the pictures up, I connected with a lot more people.
I'm gonna attempt this share screen business. Marnie, please go ahead.
Sure, while you're trying to share. So Kyle, did you think you wanted to be a photographer when you were in high school?
Yeah, something about when I was a kid, my mom used to, we would do pictures. This picture I think looks like the after teen school special or something for like smoking or something like that with Kimbra and Steve there. Yeah, when I was a kid, my mom used to,
there's the artist, by the way.
That's when I had hair. We used to mess around with photography a little bit when I was a kid. And then when I started going to concerts, when I was a teenager, my mom said I could have allowance or concert tickets. And I went, I'll take the concert tickets, because I knew that if she gave me money, I wasn't going to save them. There's no way I could save money to get concert tickets. So I started sneaking my camera into concerts. And that's my next project, is getting all the 80s concerts scanned. But a lot of them were on a disc camera, so they're really small. But my second plan in life was to be a photographer. So I'm on plan B. That's not bad. I can't complain at all.
So Kyle, what was the first concert you snuck into?
The first concert I snuck my camera into was Black Sabbath and Quiet Riot in '83. I think I was 13. And my mom is, 13. Would you drop your 13-year-old off at an arena to go see a concert now? Especially with Black Sabbath, But we had some faraway pictures, and these are all for art class too, by the way, these ones.
Yeah, there's Todd Fugere, and I want to say that's Reed Fellner there, right? A year ahead of us.
Yeah, that's Reed. And so then it just started. I used to read Circus Magazine all the time, and I was like, God, if I could just be a concert photographer, that'd be awesome. And I just kept at it and kept going and going, and did work for KHOP Magazine in the 90s. And then when I started to want to get into photography around 2009, a friend of mine was a promotional director for 93X. And I just hit him up and I said, hey, can I do photos for the webpage? And he was like, does it cost me anything? And do I have to do anything? I'm like, no, I'll do all the legwork. You just say, yes, I'm shooting for you.
Well, one of the things I noticed as we were preparing for interviewing you is your photography at First Avenue. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen at First Avenue change over the years?
The first show I shot there was 86. It was Saxon and Power Mad. And there's Mr. Norla.
Yeah.
And he was actually a judge in one of the state fair art competitions I put a photo in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I looked at all the judges, he was on the panel. I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So in 86, I just brought my camera in. And they let me take pictures. I didn't have any credentials or anything like that. And then after that, it got to be where you had to have a work from media publication or somewhere to get a photo pass to shoot the show. Pretty much that's like anywhere. Now everybody has phones, everybody has video. But if you want to bring a big professional camera in, you have to get a credential from either the band or the publicity or, you know. There's me in a great pose. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes me remember my first memory of you is at Down in the Valley, the music shop in Golden Valley, where I used to ride my bike to look for used cassettes. You used to work there, right?
I worked there from 85 to 97. Yep.
And then what led you, and you started your own shop after that? Was it a go?
Yeah, I left in 97. I worked for National Camera Exchange for about a year. And then it just wasn't paying enough because it was a lot of commission and sales, and everything was changing from big TVs to digital, and it was all getting kind of everybody was kind of at a confusing time when things were changing. So I went to work for CD Warehouse for 3 years, and then a guy there had some money, and he shared or he asked me if I wanted to manage his store, and I said, well, I'll be a partner. And so then I got Dave Graves in with me, and we opened Discland in 2000. And then we were open for 18 years. And 2 years ago, we decided that we wanted to move on with life. And for 9 years, I was doing weddings on the weekends and running the store. So it was a long, hard 9 years. And then I was like, well, this is making me enough where I can live doing weddings for a living. And it's been great for 2 years until everybody knows what happened. And now everybody's postponing their weddings, and our next one's July 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on hold. So
I'm going to pull up your some of your sort of current work here. Oh, there's one more from high school. Talk a little bit about some of the current work that
so
that you
this was an area on the 26th Street Bridge that is no longer existing because they tore it down, and now they're putting the new bridge up, and the road will look completely different. So I tried to get down there as much as possible. And the great thing about the fence is there's these holes that all the photographers cut with wires, and then the city would come. If you look on the left, you can see like some kind of metal twist that they would put in there. And then we'd all go back and untwist it and open it back up. And a lot of people shot just through the fence, but I like the fence framing it up. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty striking after the weather.
Thank you.
Minnehaha Falls here.
Minnehaha Falls is a classic. Anytime you can get down there where there's no people, and you can get some fall colors, and you can get a nice, long exposure where the water is all wispy. It was really busy. I think it was kind of cold that day. Anytime it's cold and kind of dark and rainy, I like to go out because it means there's going to be less people.
Now, Kyle, I know a professional photographer here in Madison who actually is our age, but he went to Edina High School, and his joke is always, well, you know what I always say about how people don't pay for photos, right? And I'm like, well, what do you say? And he said, people don't pay for photos. Are you, I mean, some of these, tell us if you've exhibited these, if you've sold prints of these, maybe to calendars, or I don't know what the market is for some of these shots.
I haven't done any marketing on calendars or anything like that. I always try to sell prints. We have a print shop on our webpage, and if you go to our Facebook page, RKH Images, which is easy to remember, it's Richard Kyle Hansen. I didn't think too hard on the name. I was just like, okay, well, let's just make it RKH Images. You know, exquisite photo or anything like that. And we sell some prints, but it's you got to have something like this that really captures something to get people to buy prints. I don't know if it's just the time we're in or if I'm not marketing myself correctly, but if anybody wants to buy any prints, you know, just send me a message and we'll talk.
How do we send you a message?
Just come and find me on Facebook or go to RKH Images. All the messaging that we do. This is about 6 months before Tom Petty died.
Wow. Yeah. Where are you here? Where is he here? Where are you here? What's the story?
This I was shooting for 93 or KQ, and you know, Tom Petty was one that I've always wanted to take pictures of, and I got approved. So when you do that, you have to go through the radio station, and then they go through the XL Energy Center. And I'm lucky enough that I've done enough there that they know who I am, so I can communicate with the marketing director directly. And she's always super nice. And she's like, are you shooting for KQ or what are we going to do? And Tom came out, and Tom was just posing for me left and right. He was he wasn't looking at anybody. I don't know why, but he was like moving his jacket, and he's looking right at me and doing all sorts of other stuff. It was cool. He was very interactive that night.
Oh, so are you in like the well in front of the stage to shoot these photos? Do you get to move around very much? Or?
Every show is different. So usually the general rule of thumb is you get 3 songs up front, no flash from the pit. Sometimes you have to shoot from front of house, which means a soundboard. So you have to bring a big long lens. And then once those 3 songs are done, you got to go check your gear. And then if you get tickets, you can go enjoy the show.
Cool.
And then there's a couple bands out there that you can shoot the whole show. And about an hour into the show, and I'm 10,000 photos deep, I'm like, you know, I probably got enough that I don't, you know, I'm only going to use about 30. So it takes so much time to take through them all.
Do you shoot with cameras with real film, or is it all electronic at this point?
It's all electronic. Yeah. They're all digital. Autofocusing, shooting the Vikings is a challenge because you have to have a fast shutter speed with enough ISO. For all you film geeks out there, you got to have a high enough ISO that's nice and clear. The digital world is unbelievable on the ISO and how it's all become that clear. I think that might be a 4,000 ISO. If anybody knows film, the highest that you could get was 3,200, maybe 1,600, but it would look so grainy. And as you can see, I have a Nikon D850, and I've shot at 10,000 ISO, which is 5 times more than what your film speed was back in the day, and it's almost crystal clear.
What is ISO?
ISO is the film speed. So like if you're shooting on a sunny day, you use lower, it'd be like 100 because it's more it's less sensitive. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're shooting a concert, you want to go up more because there isn't enough light, so you want more sensitive film. So that's how that all works.
Cool. Well, we have 13 people here, and I want to welcome everyone again for participating in our second episode. And this is a time if you have questions for Kyle, you can put them in the chat room, and then we'll ask Kyle. I see that Chris says, Kyle, you knew her in preschool.
Oh, preschool. Okay. Well, I guess.
Where did you go to preschool?
I don't remember. You have to ask her.
Chris, where did he go to preschool?
I just know that I've known her since we're like 5 years old.
What was your school progression through Hopkins, Kyle? Where did you go to elementary school?
Oh, I went to Westview, and then after 2nd grade it closed. So I had a choice of joining the Armstrong School District or the Hopkins because we were right on Winnetka and Golden Valley. So it was like the split. We were like 5 houses from the split, so we could choose. And my mom said, why don't you go to Hopkins? Because my sister went there and all my friends were going there. So I went to Tanglin, then junior high or North, and then Hopkins.
Chris says it was Glenwood Avenue for preschool.
Okay, sure. I believe that.
That's where Lee's Liquor Lounge is, isn't it, Glenwood?
Lee's close.
When did you start shooting sports, and like who do you shoot that for, and are you still doing that? Or I mean,
Well, as soon as the sports come back, I would love to. It's a page called Zone Coverage for KQ and 93X, Cumulus Radio. They have their own sports page, and they have writers, like beat writers, that go out to every game. And Brian Kursky, the marketing director, hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to shoot Vikings games and Twins games?" And the through me working with the XL for concerts, the Wild hired me for a few years to shoot corporate shots of the arena. So I would sit and they'd have a big list that was like, good Lord, 200 items. And it would be from every minute of the game, like all the ads that you see. So I would sit in the corner of the arena and I'd just take pictures of the ads, trying to get like some action with like, Sun Country Airlines in the background. And then I'd get a big arena picture for them. And so that was fun for a few years. The Vikings are fun. Vikings are really fun to shoot.
Yeah, it must be, that photo that you had there of the touchdown, capturing something like that must be just as thrilling as being, 2 feet from the stage when Tom Petty or Kiss is out there.
Oh yeah.
Is there a difference in the thrill? Is there a slightly different flavor of adrenaline or whatever when you're in a situation?
Well, the Vikes are everything's moving so fast. Mm-hmm. So a concert is, the guys are pretty much going to stand there and do. The country artists, they just stand there. They just play the guitar and they sing. That's the easy thing. If you're shooting some metal band, they may be banging their head and you want a fast shutter speed. It's exciting because you have the crowd behind you, things are moving, but then the iconic thing of standing on the field next to, I was standing on the field and Fran Tarkington and Jerry Burns were behind me having a conversation. And I was like, I so badly wanted to get my phone out and take a selfie with them behind me, but you got to be professional. You can't do that. And so, but I would listen to their conversation and then I turn around and, Fran winks at me and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And just shooting the games and how fast they move. And you either have a 50-50 chance if you're going to be in the right spot. Because it's either going to be on one side or the other or in the middle. So if you're on one side, one season I was always on the other side. They'd always go over on the other side. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So then they do it on the other side. And then to get a focus point, to be in the right spot at the right time is a lot of practice. The first year I didn't get that many good shots because you gotta move with the ball and you gotta figure out how it's all working. But it's in a rush. Both of them they're a different kind of adrenaline rush.
Hattie has a question for you. She asks, who bought you your first camera?
I know I used my mom's first camera. It was a little like 126 camera, but it had 2 lenses. It wasn't like a Hasselblad, but you looked on the top and looked through. That was the first camera I remember using. I remember using my mom's. And then when I got into junior high and high school, I bought a disc camera that I used a lot. And I still have more high school photos that are in color from my disc cameras that I haven't put up yet. So I'm still going through those. So there's more. I started looking at them. I'm like, okay, these are going to be a good addition to that whole thing. But I think I bought myself my first camera.
How many photos do you think you have left from high school?
Oh,
Develop.
I don't know. I have a tub. I've gotten through 2 tubs, and I have another tub of negatives that I think I might be done with the 35 millimeter black and whites, but there might be more. But I know I have a bunch of color ones that I haven't done anything with yet. So
well, that's awesome. Michelle Tweed has a question for you.
Hey, Michelle.
What did you end up doing with your signature trench coat?
Oh, my trench coat. Did I have a trench coat or my leather jacket? I know I had my fringe jacket. My fringe jacket I still have in my closet over here, and it still fits.
Fantastic.
Nice.
You still wear it is the question.
Oh yeah, I wear it out to concerts every once in a while. Yeah, no, I put it on the other day, and I'm like, all right, cool, it still fits. I had a trench coat, big black leather one, but I don't think I got that till after high school. I always have my jean jacket and my fringe, but I still have my fringe.
Good to know. Any other questions? We have only a few minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, the link obviously between what you do professionally and your education in high school is, I think, just still super interesting. Do you have any desire to teach yourself?
No, I do teach. Like if I see people shooting concerts and they want some help, I've helped a couple of young kids, and I've been like, okay, here, wait, come here, give me your camera. You want to do this? You got to do that. What's in my wife will tell you, you know, what's in my head and comes out of my mouth is two different things because I go too fast and I don't plan it out. But I've thought about doing some videos or something about, hey, if you want to learn how to do concert photos. I guess we do have a teaching thing on our webpage that I think it's $150 that will help you out with your camera. You can come over and we'll go through it and get you running on your camera.
Okay.
It's always, you know, it's always better to put it on manual and figure it out. And I've learned so much on YouTube and tutorials online in the past 10 years. Everything I've learned that you see from the last 10 years, I've learned online. A lot. I mean, there's a lot of working with film that helps me with digital, because I can look at it right away and be like, okay, that's a math equation in your head, and you figure it out. And it's like, you might need to tweak it here and there, but you can look at your camera and know right there whether it's working or not. So if you have a camera and you see how somebody did something like that Star Trails photo that I did with all the stars, I learned that by just Googling star trails, and it'll tell you exactly how to do it.
Well, we have two more questions from the audience. Michelle Tweed asks, do you have a favorite photo? And Sam Sigelman, one of next week's guests, asks, Kyle, how is your toe jam?
My toe jam is fine, Sam. Thank you very much. If anybody wants to just Google sword killer, you'll see what Sam's talking about. Go to YouTube and go to Sam's brother's page, Danny Siegelman. It's on there.
Okay.
We were on KFI radio one night, and we were making ourselves be a band called Sword Killer, which was actually Siegelman and Jason and a couple other guys, but we were pretending to be the band, and we actually got on the radio, and it was pretty funny.
That's good.
My favorite photo is, I think, my Kiss photo that I got into the State Fair last year. It's a big, huge burst of the whole stage. It's a mural. I should have brought it down. I had actually the band sign it for me. I made an extra print for me, and I got it signed by all 4 members of the band. But if anybody knows what I'm talking about, just go onto my page and look for my Kiss photo. It's a great big mural of the stage, and it's all blowing up and they're coming down. That I think stands as one of my favorites that I've done.
So Kyle, is there anything else that you want to share with us, or we should ask you as we wrap things up?
I don't know. Everybody if you just go to my Facebook page and look at it, my Instagram is kind of funny. It's Kyle, Kieill 69, because I was born in 69, and it's my adventures of Eddie. You'll see it's pretty funny, and then it's also on my Facebook page, but in RKH Images, and then my concert page is 1013 Music Reviews. If you go to my Facebook page, it says I work there. I'm a photographer there, and that's where we put all of our concert pictures up and reviews, and obviously the last thing I did was Bob Weir, and then life got shut down. So I haven't done anything since then.
Well, Kyle, thanks a lot for coming on to our experimental show here,
No problem.
episode 2. You're our first guest. I mean, Marnie and I just talked to each other last week, so you're our first guest.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, those photos from Hopkins High School still just blow me. And I've shared them, like I've tweeted out a few of them, and they resonate with people who didn't go to Hopkins High School but are our general age, and they're just blown away.
The reception that it's gotten is way more than I expected. Like way more. I've gotten a lot of compliments. One guy said I should do a gallery.
Yes.
I think so too. I think that they should exhibit them at Hopkins High School and freak those kids out about what life was like 30 years ago. So
these
thanks a
old
lot.
people do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Kyle. Marnie, we'll do this next week when our guests will be
Jim Sexton and Sam Sigelman.
Oh yeah, that ought to be fun.
right. We're also still looking for ideas. We're trying to sign people up. We've contacted some people out there to get them on in future episodes. As you can see from our experience with Kyle tonight, painless procedure. No crying, no pain. Yeah. So we'll see everybody again next Tuesday.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Send me a friend request. We can all talk.
There we go. Good night.
Good night.